Good morning, it's Scout down at Garage. How you doing today? We are in the garage working on a new project. This one's going to be shocking. Before we get started, I want to let you know this video is partially sponsored by Super Clean. I use Super Clean regularly to keep the engine compartment super clean in my Jeep. In this video we are installing a switch panel. However, we are not adding any accessories. That is for next week. If you are a resident of one of the lower 48 states, comment below what you think the accessory is that will get installed next week. I will pick one viewer at random with the correct guess as the winner. Super Clean will then send that viewer one bottle of original Super Clean and one bottle of Super Clean aerosol. So stay tuned, good luck, and see you next week. Alright, I decided it was time to put in some switches. So we are going with the Auxpower 8-gang switch panel system for the JK. Let's take a look here. Looks like we got some mounting panels, destructions, stickers, more stickers. You know what that means, extra horsepower. More mounting, compact mounting panel, screwdriver, wiring, hardware, more wires. I'm now a certified zip tie mechanic, so I can use these. Isn't it cute? That thing is tiny. The power box. Look at that. That's sexy. More wires. And it looks like the main breaker. But the first thing we're going to do is mount a couple of the screws into the switch panel, and then go figure out where we want this actually mounted at. One of the places it shows in the instructions would be right here if you didn't have the locker switches here and the sway bar switch. It looks good there. If I didn't have them, that's probably where I'd go. As I was saying, I can mount it here below the switches, which would look good. Run my wires back into this area next to the steering wheel, but I'm not sure how much strength this would have with the holes for the speaker and how much of this area is actually taken up by the speaker. Where I really want to mount it was right here on the A-pillar, but I think on the side would be the cleanest mount. That would look decent from inside the Jeep, but on the outside I think you're looking at a lot of brackets, and let's see if I can show you kind of what I'm afraid of here. So from the outside looking in, you're going to see the back of the switch, the bracketry, the wire going down into the dash. And I just don't know that I like that. Third option is up here at the center of the roof. Fourth option I see is down here below this switch, something similar to this. I think I know where I want this mounted, but it's going to depend on the wiring. Where am I going to mount this box? I need to have access into it so I can run my wires, add things in, change fuses, but the issue is that's pretty much all the wire I got. So it's going to have to be close to the battery, as is this breaker switch, because it's going to go battery to here, other side to the box, and then this back to the battery. The other issue we have is the lead wire from the control box to the switch, which is only about 10 feet long. picture and the directions show it going kind of right here. But there is definitely not enough wire to get from here to the battery for that. And then you get the battery side. There's just not a lot of real estate right here for putting that. All right, I think I've decided to put it where the picture shows, over the brake lines. Now if you look right down there, I'm going to try to loosen that and see if I can't wedge this in there. Okay, I've got the bracket right here snugged in on one side, not mounted on the other. Wrench is stuck inside. I'm not sure how I'm going to get that out. But before I go any further, I want to set the control box on there and make sure I have clearance for everything. Well, I got my screwdriver, or got my wrench out. Pre-drilled this hole, and I'm confident I'm going to lose that screw. While it's not necessary to take off your freedom panels or your hardtop, I took them off just for ease of access to the wiring and for filming purposes. As you can probably guess, I decided to mount my switches up at the center top of the windshield. So in order to do this, I had to pop that center panel off, and it just simply pops off. Alright, got the panel out. I think if we notch this out just a little bit more, where the wiring for the mirror goes, I'll be good. I'm probably going to jinx this and say it's going better than I expected. Okay, so we're going to pop this panel out. So I have just lightly snapped that back in place. I want to get this right where I want it so I can drill the holes. Notched out the center where the electrical cord for the mirror goes, so I have a little bit extra room for this. So let's start putting it back together. Now I left the bracket loose on all parts of it so I can have a little bit of fine adjustment with it. Last bolt that holds the switch panel in, I just got to do the final adjustment, drill the last hole, and then I'm not done. And tuck it in and out of the way, because there's nothing else that goes in here. Kind of a mess right here left. Let me show you what I got. So I've got a very short lead wire here that goes from the battery to a 60 amp fuse breaker. So it really kind of limits where this can go. I have a not very long wire that goes from the switch panel. It's supposed to go all the way across the Jeep, but I barely make it to the intake, center of the intake. So I need almost 3 times longer to get to where that was suggested to be mounted and where in fact it was mounted. I've got a ground strap that should go from the battery again all the way across, and same issue, barely makes the intake. So both those wires are too short. This red wire, that's not very long, that is supposed to go from the aux power way over there to the accessory port. And I'm assuming That's what this is here. This clips in and goes to the accessory port inside the outside fuse panel. Back under the hood, and I'm going to catch some hate for this one. This is the wire that we're supposed to use to connect this auxiliary switch pod to the battery. Found it at the big box store, but I was only able to get it in 100-foot spools at $100 a spool. Yeah, not happening. So I found similar gauge jumper cables. Time to build our own wires. Oh, by the way, $11. All right, here we go. Just to basically cut this in half, the one that came with it, splice in the jumper cable to the length I need. Since you're all going to probably hate me anyways, give me grief, I do not have shrink tape or heat shrink that fits. Now for the fun part of just getting the wires from here all the way to the battery. Now you will notice I left those loose because I need to run one more wire that I need to build to go to the box. Now I couldn't find a place where I wanted to mount this breaker that I was happy with, so what I ended up doing is using an adhesive caulk and basically gluing the switch down to the top of the battery. Alright, here's the final install position, and here's how it works. And we are glowing green. Then you cover the light sensor. I thought this was backwards at first, but it actually makes sense because you don't want it really bright at night when you're driving. So it'll be bright during the day. That'll take a little bit to get used to. And just a simple push. So you can hit individual buttons all you want. You get the little red light above it. You can use your master switch to turn them off. When you turn them back on, the same ones come on. Young, when it gets dark, it's going to dim down. When it gets bright, they're going to brighten up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. See you next week.